Hi students, in last video we talk about the types of the function. We said there is a two type of the function, which is the predefined function and also user-defined function. The predefined function, it's the function that are already defined in the system library. The use library function must be aware of the syntax of the function. So we said that if we have any mathematical equation, we go right away to the library of math. In last question we have a square, we just went right away to the mathematical lab, we call it from there. Imagine if we have adding two numbers, like we want the sum of two numbers. Right away you get the sum from the library math.h. It's the same thing, guys, when we have a printf. It's also available in the stdio.h library, and if we want to clear something, it's available in the Conio lab library. All right, so and also we talk about the second one, the second type of function, the use defined function. It must be defined by a program or used while writing a program, and the program has a two coding of such function, and test them probably before using them. Example, we have the main, we have the swap if we want to swap two numbers, we have the sum if we want to sum, and then we have a questions. We wrote a questions what we have when we have to find the sum between two values, the a and b. We printf, we scan to secure a place for them in the memory, and then we use the call function. We call it here the define function called c equals sum a and b, and then we define the function here, which is that the integer c it's equal a plus b, and then we return to 0. All right. Okay, in this video, guys, we're going to talk about how we call the function in the program. There's a two type to call a function, but mainly, guys, there's a three types to call a function, but the third type, it's a call by name. We call it recursion. It's a different chapter, but we will cover it, and we're gonna have like a 2 or 3 questions about about the recursion. We're just gonna briefly cover it. So the first one, guys, is a call by value. We're calling a function help of value, and a call by reference, we're calling a function through the address, which particularly, guys, we call it through the location. What is the call by value? The value of a variable is passed to a function as a parameters. The value of an actual parameters cannot be modified by former parameters. Guys, what is the actual and the former parameter? The actual parameters, guys, it's the argument which is used, a function called, which is integer a. It's side here, inside it's the argument. So the formal parameter, this is argument which is using a function definition. So the function definition is the formal and parameters, and also the function call, it's the actual parameter, it's using the function call, and the formal parameters, it's using the function definition. All right, so difference memory is allocated for both of the actual and the formal parameters, because the value of the actual parameters, it's copied always. The value of the actual parameters, it's copied to the former parameters. Let's have a questions, and we're going to understand more what we talking about here. All right, so this question, guys, it's we want to swap two numbers. which is that we have m it's equal 22 and n it's equal to 44. So we want m to be 44 and n to be 22. How we do it, guys? This is we do it by calling by a value. Include stdio .h, which it's gonna call the print f, and void swap. Void, guys, indicate whatever function I'm using does not return the value. Swap, guys, it's the function name. The swap, it's the function name, which is the swapping. I want to swap. This is the function name. Now, void swap, we have the two arguments, which is the integer a and integer b. This is the function declaration. So the function declaration is the void swap, and also the argument, which is the integer a and integer b, integer main. And then we have the two values. This is the read values. Integer m it's equal 22 and n it's equal 44. Print a value before the swap. We're just printing now. We just want to print the value before. We don't have to scan because we already have the two value. We don't have to assume the two values because we already the two values were giving. All right. Now swap m n, calling the swap function. Now we're calling, this is the actual parameters, guys. This is the actual parameters, which is the calling the swap. Wherever I'm writing the swap, the control jumps into it, guys. All right. So the swap n and m, this is the actual parameters, and then now this is how we gonna define it. Void swap. And this is how we're going to define it. Void swap, the two argument. This is the formal parameters. Integer temp, which integer, let's say temp, temp it's equal a, and a it's equal to b, and b it's equal to temp, which means that the temp, it will take the value of a it's going to take the value of b, and b is going to take the value of b, which means the temp is going to be 22, 22 is going to be equal to 44, and temp will be equal to 44. Temp will take the value of a will take the value of b, and b will take the value of temp. So we're going to print the value of the swap before the swap, after the swap. So the output will be the value before the swap. The m, it will be equal to 22, n it's going to be equal to 44. The value after the swap, m will be equal to 44, n will be equal to 22. That's how we do it in a call by reference. Now we're going to go to call by value. What is the call by value? The address of the variables is passed to a function as a parameter. The value of the actual parameters can be modified by a former parameters. Some memories is used for both actual and the former parameters, since only address is used by the both parameters. In the call by reference, guys, we all gonna use it, we're gonna understand it, we're gonna talk about it when we go to chapter 7 in pointers, because in chapter 7 in pointers we're gonna focus on the address. Everything actually will be rotate around the address and also the memory. All right, but there is no harm that we talk about it and know the difference between the type of the function. This is the questions, guys, that we have in the call by reference. We said, guys, in the call by reference, we only target the memory location, which is the memory location, not the value itself will change, but the memory location of the two values will change. We're gonna solve the questions in the same way, which is that the void swap, and this is the argument of a pointer. The argument of pointers, guys, you don't have to worry about it, because there's another chapter in chapter 7, we call it pointers. The integer m equal 22, n equal to 20. This is we're printing the value before the swap. Now we're calling by the reference, but we're calling here by the memory. You can see here, guys, we call it by the memory. We're not going to call it by the value itself. All right, we call it by the memory. And then void swap, this is the how we defining the function integer temp. Temp it's equal to asterisk a, it's equal to asterisk b, it's equal to temp. So this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. Only the memory location will change. This is the memory location, which we have a, we have b here. So the memory location of the A will go to B, and B will go to B. Only the memory location will be changed. As I told you guys, in call by reference, there's a whole chapter called a pointer, where we're going to deal with the call by reference. Right, guys, thank you very much, and in next class we also going to continue in function, but in this time we're gonna talk about the call by name, which we will call it a recursion. Thank you very much, everyone.